Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we have the Week 16 waiver wire edition of the podcast. So if you're still listening to this week, that must mean you're in the championship game. So congratulations. I mean, pretty impressive to get there, Jeff. How many championships games do you have to play this week?
Oh, I got a grand total of shut the hell up, because I got 0 this time around.
It is kind of disappointing, and I did win 2 championships though. We got 2 championships, Jeff. Listener leagues, pulled off 2 of them.
Here we go.
2 of the 5, so we got that. I got a toilet bowl championship this week.
I'm not gonna lie, that's a big one though.
It is. So this will be the waivers. This is going to be kind of abbreviated because there's just not as many. You don't have any, speculation types this week. It's only players you can possibly play this week. You can't be speculating anymore. Just guys that you could possibly use. So, I'm going to start this off with a question, actually. Steal a question from our mailbag. Might as well. This is kind of, could be waiver wire. He's looking at some of these players are on the waiver wire. So some of them are. Here we go. It's Luke Shores. He's asking us. He needs a flex player for this week for standard scoring leagues. He's going to be... Okay, first off, I don't agree with this necessarily. He's going to bench Carlos Hyde this week because Carlos Hyde didn't do very well last week. I don't think you should bench Carlos Hyde. I'm just going to throw that out there. But here are the players he could play. Theo Riddick, D.D. Westbrook, Martavis Bryant, Randall Cobb, Chris Ivory, Jonathan Stewart, Mohamed Sanu, Paul Richardson. Any of those?
Oh my gosh.
First off, I'm playing Carlos Hyde. I was going to tell you, Luke, I'm playing Carlos Hyde over those options. I'm just doing it.
Well, I get where he's coming from, though, right? They're playing Jacksonville, right?
I'm still doing it.
Yeah, I feel more comfortable about Hyde being able to sneak in maybe a touchdown or something. Garoppolo is playing pretty well. Hyde can catch a few balls. Hyde is definitely at... let me narrow it down first, I guess. So
it's standard, so you're probably not looking at Theo Riddick. With Abdullah back.
I think that's too much of a risk.
Run there.
And tell you the truth, I don't really know what's going down in Jacksonville, who's starting, but I probably wouldn't go DD.
There's too many options right there.
My gosh, there was a lot of guys you named
Chris
off.
Ivory, probably not, because Fournette should be back. If Fournette's not back, Ivory's a good option, but I think Fournette's going to be back, so I'm going to kind of throw that one out there. So it comes down to this point, there's Martavis Bryant, there's Randall Cobb, there's Jonathan Stewart, Mohamed Sanu, Paul Richardson. I'm throwing out Paul Richardson out of those.
Yeah, he's not in it. And tell you the truth, I mean, Sanu actually, he's been a little up and down. He has possibility, but I probably wouldn't throw him in there either.
Yep.
My gosh, who was
Jonathan Stewart?
Jonathan Stewart is an option.
But you don't trust it, do you?
I mean, I don't really trust any of these guys, but I mean, Stewart just had that big game. Their offense has been really clicking.
So it comes down to Cobb and Bryant.
Yeah,
and that's the reason for the question, because those are basically the 2 options, my top 2 waiver wire options.
So this is my thing. Even with Cobb would probably near the top, except I'm not convinced that Aaron Rodgers is going to be trotted out there. There's a lot of speculation he's not going to play. Yeah. And if he doesn't play, I'm definitely not throwing him back out there.
Yep.
So otherwise, yes, I would like Cobb a lot.
Martavis Bryant playing against the Texans, who didn't they just play Jacksonville this past week? All those no-name receivers just blew up against the Texans.
Yeah, I mean...
Why can't Martavis Bryant do it?
Yeah, I mean, is Antonio Brown, is he not going to play next game? Do we know for sure?
Yeah, he won't be in.
Okay. Him not being, I would definitely go Martavis Bryant then. Mostly because all the other ones aren't viable options. So, I mean, that's the question then. I mean, is there anyone else you would throw in the possibility? What we know now. It's got to be Martavis Bryant, or you actually stick with Hyde, correct?
I'd probably stick with maybe you go Bryant. I guess maybe
if he's the number 2 there,
it's San Francisco
and Shushu
probably isn't a good enough team to sustain a Hyde against against Jacksonville. Maybe not. Maybe you go Martavis, and that's why I wanted to bring this up, because Martavis is the number 1 guy on my waiver wire list for the week. So with no Antonio Brown out there, Juju's going to get a lot more run, but he's already owned in about 76% of leagues, so he's not out there. If he was out there for some reason, I'd pick him up and play him. But more than likely, he's not. So Martavis, it's not like he's been great lately, but over the last 4 games, he has 4 catches, 4 catches, 6 catches, 4 catches. The yardage hasn't been big, but he's gotten 2 touchdowns in that span. So he's definitely he has a role there, and I could see it expanding this week without Antonio Brown. So I might feel comfortable with it, especially with the matchup they have. So I think I'm going to go Martavis Bryant. And I think that's why if you're in a needy spot for wide receiver this week, I think he could play as an option. I don't think he's going to hurt you. I feel like he's going to get a minimum of 6 points in standard, a minimum. I think he's going to get at least 60 yards. So I'm going Martavis. I think it's a decent pickup for the week. What about Randall Cobb? He's over our limit by just a little bit. So he's going to depend on if Aaron Rodgers plays. If Aaron Rodgers plays, Randall Cobb, is he in your starting lineup?
I think he's pretty dead even with Martavis Bryant. Yep. Even as the possible number 3 there. He has done pretty well. We don't know if Devontae Adams is going to pass concussion protocol. Jordy hasn't been able to get anything done. It seems like Cobb would be the go-to guy. So I like him a lot, and I like Aaron Rodgers, obviously, a ton. And Cobb caught a touchdown from Aaron Rodgers last week.
Move too. A couple nice moves on that touchdown run.
Yeah, so I like him a little more. Oh, man, that's a tough one. I think I'd probably, if I'm being honest, I guess I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to play, but if he did, I think I might still lean Martavis Bryant, only because he's going to be the number 2 for sure. Well, and I can't say that for Cobb,
Adams
really.
Should be out. He's going to be out.
Okay.
Especially I haven't heard it for sure, but after that hit, after he had the one earlier in the season too against the Bears, I believe it was, there's no way.
Right, and they're a long shot. I think they might just pack it in, to be honest. I think they might just...
The chances of them making the playoffs are so slim now.
Yeah, I think at this point you're just kind of like, we're going to take out everyone. We're going to save them for next year.
Yep. I think we're recording this during the Monday night game, and I believe I heard if the Falcons win tonight, they're out anyway. So I think that might be what's going on. So
gotcha.
If that were to happen.
So, yeah, then in that case, that game doesn't matter, and I would definitely go Bryant.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's where I'd go too. I like Martavis this week. All right, what about the Jacksonville receivers? They're on our list here for waiver wire. Dede Westbrook, Keelan Cole, probably not Jaden Mickens because I don't know, that's way out there. But this is more if there's no Marquise Lee, no Allen Hurns, these are the top 2 options. It's going to be Dede Westbrook and Keelan Cole. Keelan Cole has probably been putting up better numbers than Dede Westbrook. People look at Dede Westbrook as the better receiver, but it's not happening. He was the higher pick and everything, but Keelan Cole's been putting up good numbers, and they get to go against San Francisco. If you're in a deep enough league, or if you are somebody that lost Antonio Brown and you don't have another option, are you playing one of these 2? And if you have to choose, who are you picking? Which one?
Yeah, do I take the hot hand or do I take the guy that's supposed to have more upside? I think this week, and if I have to play one, I would really, everyone, I love how all these teams are so jumbled.
Right.
You don't even know where they're really playing. I guess I would probably go Dede. I know Keelan has been the hot hand, but I would go Westbrook. What about you?
It feels safer. I know it does.
It does make me feel good about either one because I really don't know.
I feel like he's more of the number 1 type there and going to get more catches. Maybe not the biggest plays as Keelan Cole will, but
but is Keelan Cole, is he going to be moved up because of all the injuries? So is he going to be playing against a better corner? And
that's true. Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm worried about. Technically he was the 4th wide receiver. He was just getting come in there and he'd a decoy and he would get open. I've seen Dede run very good routes and get open even with very good defenders on him. So I would probably go Dede.
Yeah, I think I would too. I'm going to go Dede with that.
Here's a question. I almost, just because I've been looking around, I have to go back to that original question. Jonathan Stewart, I realized last week he didn't get in the end zone. He didn't do much. He got 11 carries, but he didn't get much more action the weeks before, and he has found pay dirt a lot lately.
It's true.
Would you put him in that same realm as Martavis Bryant, Hyde?
See, I'm still playing Hyde. I really am in that situation.
So out of all 3 of those.
I would. I know it's, man, the matchup is, you just really got to think about that matchup, don't you? That's tough.
It's brutal. It really is. Jacksonville is very, very legit.
Yeah. And maybe.
Well, I guess, what do you expect out of Jonathan Stewart? Because I feel like
I don't know what to expect. If he doesn't get a touchdown, he's not going to do anything.
Exactly. And at that point, are you just banking on the fact that that you could get the touchdown. Like, he probably has a better Jonathan Stewart, the way he's been playing the last 4 weeks or whatever, he probably has a higher probability of getting a touchdown. Obviously, because you're going to give it to him if you get anywhere near the 5-yard line. I don't know. That's an interesting one after looking at his numbers, because I never think that highly of him. And, for the most part, he really hasn't done a whole lot this year. But the last 4 games, all of a sudden, he found the end zone 5 times. Obviously, last week, 11 carries for 27 yards. Didn't do a whole lot against Green Bay, but he's going against Tampa Bay. It looks like he's getting at least 11 carries a game. Not doing a whole lot with it, but he's getting in the end zone.
I think I just go Martavis. I might just go Martavis Bryant now.
I think I would go Bryant. I just had to revisit that because it was bothering me. But
all right, what about running backs here? There's nothing great here. So if you're hurting, I mean, you could be. This is very well. You might have to start somebody. I mean, is there any consideration at all for Aaron Jones? Looking pretty decent. Only 3 carries, got 47 yards out of it. Jamal Williams didn't look as good, but is there any scenario where you can even trust something like that in this week?
No, because for 2 reasons. 3. One, I have no idea if Aaron Rodgers is going to be in there. It changes the game plan, changes the way the defense is going to play you. So as soon as he's not in there, they can load up the box a little more. We don't know how much Williams is going to get, how much Jones will get. And thirdly, they're playing Minnesota, which is a good defense. The whole situation is just stacked against Aaron Jones. I like the guy, but I think that would be an incredibly, foolhardy move.
This shows how weak the running back is this week if you need one of these guys. Okay, this is basically the next option. It's Kerwin Williams, if he's healthy, if he plays, or if he's not healthy and doesn't play, Elijah Penny, the backup, who had 10 carries for 45 yards this past week. Kerwin Williams now, it's a volume play. The last 3 weeks, he's gone 16 carries, 20 carries, 17 carries. If he plays going against the Giants, I think he could be your flex option if you're that desperate. But if he doesn't play, would you throw somebody like Elijah Penny in there, especially in a little deeper 12-team, 14-team league? Would you do it? Elijah Penny in a championship game?
I would never feel good about it. But yeah, if he's getting that many touches, he's a better play than a lot of guys out there. As you saw, there's no one here. If you're going, especially when we look at it, if it's owned above 50%, we really don't talk about them. We just assume you can't get them.
Yep.
If you're in the championship game and you have to play him, it's a dangerous move. But at the same time, if you had anyone better, I know you wouldn't even be listening to this conversation. So, yeah, I think he is definitely one of the top contenders for a pickup in the running back category.
The next one I'm going to talk about, we talked about him last week. He's not any good, really, but he could get more work, is Wayne Gallman. He had 8 carries for 39 yards. Again, he looked better than Darkwa. Darkwa had more fantasy points, but or maybe not. He might not even, but he had the touchdown. But he only had 9 carries for 7 yards. And Gallman had 8 for 39. It's not pretty, but so if you're in a situation, would you go Gallman? This is such a terrible question. Would you go either Kerwin Williams or Elijah Penny, or would you go Wayne Gallman? This is terrible. But hey, I'm telling you, I remember I won a championship with Tim Hightower and Cameron Artis-Payne one year, so this happens. Kerwin, I think I feel more comfortable with the Arizona side.
Yeah, I only take Kerwin Williams because it seems like he gets the bulk of the carries. Like the other guys, I don't really think they're going to get over 10 touches necessarily.
Yep.
And, you already saw that Williams is going to get it. Whether or not he does anything with it, who knows. But if you want to throw one more name in there, one more name in that dumpster heap, but Buck Allen.
Buck Allen, yeah, I was going to talk about
He's not anything crazy to look at, but he has put up a couple decent weeks at least. I don't feel good about it, but at the same time, he's going against Indianapolis, and last week he got 13 carries for 70 yards, building on the performance before that where he got in the end zone twice. I don't know what he's going to do, but he would definitely be in that discussion of those 5 guys. But yeah, I like Kerwin Williams the best.
And I guess Mike Davis is still an option for Seattle. He didn't do very well this week, but no one from Seattle did. And they have a better matchup this week. So
yeah, he only got 6 carries. That was what confused me the most.
They were just down so much, and
the Rams did beat the crap out of that team.
One thing you could do here is get Peyton Barber, who, as we are talking, he's playing in the Monday night game, but Doug Martin was inactive tonight. So
true.
Peyton Barber looks like he's the starter there now. But Carolina is not an easy matchup next week. And as we're talking, he's 6 for 16. Not looking great early, but it's a tough match. This is the situation you're in. If these are the players you're going after, though, it's going to be rough. But he's another option. So basically, here's the idea. I've said this before. Take all these names, throw them in a hat, and pick one and call it good. And if you're in this desperate of a spot. But if you're looking at a flex spot, this is for a flex spot, pick any wide receiver. I basically would say I'd rather have any of these wide receivers that we're talking about if they're out there rather than pretty much any of these running backs for the most part. I
agree. You're looking for one big pass play instead of hoping to God they give him 10 carries and he gets inside the 3-yard line.
All right. Tight ends, I'm not really talking about anybody, but Eric Ebron, he's actually looking better. He's, I think, leading the tight ends in catches here now over the last few weeks, which is pretty impressive. It's not great, but it's mainly bolstered by a 10-catch game. But he's getting a little bit better. He got a touchdown this past week. If you're desperate and you need a tight end, Ebron could be an option. But how about quarterbacks? Talk about quarterback streaming options for the week. Here are some of the players. I'll go 2 of them. 2 of them are good options. 2 of them are really good options.
I already know which
Nick
2 you're going to say.
Nick Foles and Blake Bortles.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Those are great options, I feel like.
Yeah, I think those are the only 2 options.
Nick Foles, I think, to me, he'd be my first option and going against Oakland. And then Bortles against San Francisco. They're both very good. I'm comfortable with either of them. And what the heck happened, Blake Bortles? I keep saying you're a terrible quarterback. Everyone says you're a terrible quarterback. In these last 3 games, Blake Bortles has been great. He really has. So I'm comfortable with either one of those, but I think I'd go Foles first. But I can see an argument for the Bortles side too. So I'm okay with either of them. I like Foles.
Yeah, I'd probably lean Foles just because he has a better, they're kind of built around that passing offense.
Yep.
And I know people are going to bring his name up, but Garoppolo, he has been very, very good, but at the same time, he's still in San Francisco, and they're about to hit Jacksonville.
Yeah, just not an option.
Yeah, just stay away from him.
Yeah,
and don't get caught up into any of the hype with like Eli doing well last week. That's who gives a, you know what I mean?
The other one, Joe Flacco, honestly, maybe. He's had 3 straight 20-plus point games, and he gets into Indianapolis this week. So I'd go obviously Foles and Bortles first, but if Flacco is there and that's what if you don't have these other options, I'd probably go Flacco and be okay with it because 3 straight games of 20 points, another good matchup.
It is. I never trust Flacco though. Look what he did before that, and he didn't hit 20 until then.
Yeah, right. But I'm playing him over Eli, I'm playing him over Cutler, those types. I guess maybe Tyrod Taylor. Would you go Tyrod Taylor or Joe Flacco? Tyrod gets New England.
Who is he playing?
At New England.
At New England?
He looks pretty good this past week, but that's against Miami. So he's a big up and down guy. I think I'd go Flacco over Tyrod. I think I do. But I can see the other options because he gets right about
man.
Throw him in a hat.
Yeah.
I hope Foles or Bortles is there.
Yeah, exactly. I would assume one of the 2 would be there. But, yeah, I guess I would lean towards Flacco. I think that one really is a jump up. At least Tyrod could get you a little rushing yards or whatever.
Yep.
I guess I would just go the fact that Flacco did it 3 times in a row. I would trust that a little more than Tyrod, who kind of is the same player. He can dip a lot. So,
all right, some defenses. Finish it off with some defenses here. Redskins could be an okay option going against Denver, who hasn't been very good. Who knows is it going to be Osweiler again, who actually looked better this past week, so maybe not. But Washington did all right against Arizona, so that could be a play. I don't feel comfortable with it. I don't at all. I don't because they haven't been that good. But the other one to be is going to be the Bears, though. The Bears going against Cleveland. The Bears have actually had 3 games in a row, which they've been a pretty decent defense, scoring-wise. So Bears might be the best option this week. They're not a good defense, but they're playing against Cleveland, and they're good enough to make that a tough game for Cleveland. They might lose the game. That could still happen, but I still think they're okay.
No, it's surprisingly enough. I mean, I'm kind of shocked that the Bears have done so well, even though their team has struggled so mightily. They went negative 1 time against Green Bay early in the season when they had Aaron Rodgers. And other than that, I mean, really, they haven't had that many poor performances. Usually against Green Bay, honestly. Yep. Green Bay and Philly. So yeah, I like them a lot. I think that one is a good pick. What do you think about the Chiefs?
That was my next one. They're on.
Okay.
I have their stats pulled up right now. In the last 2 games, they've looked pretty decent, and that's actually against 2 offenses that should have been good.
Yeah.
So that's.
And now they're going against Miami.
I feel good about it. I would actually. I don't know. I might roll them out there over the Bears, just because I have a hard time trusting the Bears, but they're pretty close to me. I'd play them. I think they're a decent option this week. They really are. I don't know how I rank them though between them and the Bears. I think I still feel more comfortable going against the Browns. In any option.
Yeah, that's probably true. I'd probably go Bears slightly over them because exactly what you said, Cleveland and the Bears have been more consistent on defense. I mean, you look at the Chiefs,
yep.
And even though the last 2 games they've killed people, the game before that they were -7. They went negative 3 times during the year. They're kind of Jekyll and Hyde as far as how well they do. And we also saw Miami torch New England not so long ago. Not saying they're going to do that, but I would still go Bears. They control it. They grind it out. I think they have a lower floor, or I'm sorry, a higher floor than what the Chiefs do. And so I would probably go Bears.
I agree. I like that one. And then the Lions, if they're still out there in their league, they're owning 60% ESPN, so they're taking in more leagues, but that's 40% of leagues are still out there. And they get the Bengals, who have been terrible. So Lions are another top. I think there's actually some decent options. They're not like just spectacular, amazing, but the Lions should be right up there to me with the Bears, right up there with the Chiefs, if they're out there in your league. So,
yeah, they've done surprisingly well this year too, as far as defense fantasy points goes.
But all right, I think that's it for me. I think that's going to do it. Waivers. It's always shortened when you have no play. You're not picking up anybody that you can use in the future. It's just got to use them this week and. Hopefully you win your league, because this is pretty much it. If you're playing week 17, I mean, there's some leagues that are out there that do that, but I feel like it's very few. So that's going to do it for the waivers. We'll be back. We'll do some version of the rankings this week and also a mailbag. So we will talk to you guys tomorrow.